Hi, I'm a military spouse and a homeschooling mom to 4 children. We've been doing it for 8 years now. If you're considering homeschooling, but you're kind of on the fence and don't know, I have some pros and cons, so stay tuned. We have been homeschooling for 8 years and I absolutely love it. But there are some cons to homeschooling, but I think the pros far outweigh them. And I just focus on being very grateful that I get to see my children grow up and I get to be incorporated into their learning, and it's just less stress on our family. But I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to lay them out. Maybe if you were kind of sitting on the fence, not knowing what to do, I either hopefully this will help you, hearing from another homeschool mom who's been doing it for 8 years now. We have finally, I want to say maybe within the last 3 years, finally got into a groove where it doesn't feel like so much work, and it's not something that's constantly on my mind. It's not something that I'm stressing about at nighttime. I just it's just part of it now. So let's start with the cons, because I didn't want to wrap it in a nice pretty bow, and let's just get those out of the way. So number one, I have notes. Number one, it's not what all the videos portray. I'm going to do a day in the life, and it probably will be a day when we have a good day, but you won't see the boring parts, or maybe you will, I don't know. I think I'm going to include them. Just fast forward them. But it's not what all the videos portray it to be. It's not like doing a whole bunch of projects and everybody loves doing their work. Sometimes there are tears because they don't want to, or because it's hard. Sometimes it's not as smooth at all. Yeah, it's not what the videos show it to be. It also feels like a full-time job with absolutely no pay. And that is a huge struggle if you go from 2 incomes to 1. And now you're at home. And at the beginning, I wasn't really thinking about it. But now that we're kind of in our groove, it's always on my mind. Like, I'm getting no money, none. And I know that raising my children and teaching them has far more benefits than money could ever buy. It just sometimes is hard when you're doing 1 income, or finding a job that will kind of work with still planning with school and taking care of your family and working, and it's a full-time job. The other thing is feeling like school offers more. I don't know if you looked at how much music lessons are, but they're really expensive per hour, and then you have to still buy the instrument. And so sometimes you feel like school can offer more because my kids can go to school. I'm already paying the taxes for it. I'm already paying for them to go. They can go and they can do band, and I might just have to rent an instrument for, I don't know, $30, $40, and they can use it, or even $100. I would be fine with $100 if it was rented for the whole year. But music lessons can be $30 to $40 an hour for a day. So sometimes I feel like school can offer more. Okay, so you need to be self-motivated. You are your child's teacher. You ensure that their schoolwork is being done. You're the one that's planning it. You don't have somebody else sitting behind you, unless you go through, like, I'm talking about not private schooling. I'm not talking about e-courses that have teachers. I'm talking about if you solely are the one recording all the information. You have to be self-motivated. You have to be willing to go out and look for the information. You have to have the drive and the want to provide your child the best education that they can get. So you have to be motivated. Okay, let's talk about the pros to homeschooling. Like I said, I really want to wrap up the video with like a happy feeling about homeschooling, and I wish everyone would do it if you could. And I also think that there are far more pros that outweigh the cons, in my eyes that are well worth homeschooling. So let's go with number one. Number one is less stress on the family. So what does less stressful mean? It's less stressful because I don't have to worry about the school calendar. I don't worry about teacher days off. I don't have to worry about finding a babysitter on those teacher days off or those half days. I don't have to worry about getting a doctor's note because they need to go to the dentist. Everything is based on my schedule. What do I have planned? And then what do the kids have planned? And so it's less stressful because I get to take them to those dentist appointments. My husband just gets to stay at work and continue working, and he doesn't have to worry about all the other household activities that happen at home because I'm at home doing them. So it's less stress. It's less stress because we move at our own pace for schooling, unlike being stuck to public school guidelines. So if my kindergartner, who's 5, is not reading yet, I don't have someone breathing down my neck and forcing them to go to school for 9 hours a day, come home and read some more when they've just spent all day at school. They're exhausted. They want to come home. They just want to play. They don't want to do more schoolwork. I don't have to worry about that. We just get to take our time, and they will learn to read when they are ready. As long as we keep trying, they will get it. So it's less stress. I'm not stuck to these random guidelines that say that all kindergartens should be able to write their name, or all 4th graders need to master multiplication. I'm not stuck to those guidelines. I'm stuck to working at my children's pace, and so it's less stressful. So if I need to take a day because I'm sick, we're allowed to do that because we do school year around. We're not stuck to a rigid schedule like public school. So it's less stressful because my husband can go to work, and I take care of all the household responsibilities. If you're working, you know what it's like to go to work and come home and then still take care of all the household responsibilities. Imagine what it's like taking that out, and your sole focus now is just taking care of the house and teaching your kids. It just is incredibly less stressful for everybody inside the house. Also, if we want to go on a mini vacation, we can go on a mini vacation, and we're not stuck to the public school. Okay, the second reason is I wanted to see what they were learning. I didn't like my children coming home, and I would ask them, like, what did you do today? What did you learn? And they were like, I don't know. I didn't like that. And then the stuff you read in the news, and I really wanted to be involved, and I really wanted to have conversations, and I really wanted them to look at school as learning all the time, that maybe this was just like our schooling. What I tell them is that this is just a small part of our day where I just ensure that specific things are being done, but that is it. But we're learning all the time. Whenever there's something you're interested in, you're going to go out and research it, and you're learning. So I wanted to be involved and see what they're learning, and discuss the things that they're learning, and build their character and conversation skills, and which kind of leads into allowing them to explore their passions or their interest when they're little, and learning that it's good. Like, go out and learn it. It might not be something that you want to do in the future, but go out and learn it and see if it's even something that's interesting to you, because it might lead you down a different path. So for example, my son was really interested in recording his gameplay and then posting it on YouTube, because he enjoyed watching that on YouTube, similar to what I'm doing right now. And so he wanted to be able to post and share his gameplay and become a YouTuber. So I took a little thing that we were doing that wasn't like important. This was just something extra. I took it off and I put in his recording time. So for 30 minutes that day, he would play, record it. This was during his school day. And then the next day I would work with him, and we would work on editing, and then we would work on, what is your YouTube name gonna be? And he really loved it. He was thinking of his name. His sister drew the thumbnail or his like picture for his YouTube channel. It was great. And as a family, we got to participate in something that he was interested in, and he learned it was really hard. It took a lot of work. And so it made him appreciate the YouTubers that he was watching, or any of the videos he's watching. The amount of time goes into sharing your work. Okay, the next one would be teaching at the kids' pace, which also, and I have been praised by my children for this, because sometimes, like all of us, we encounter something that is really difficult to learn, and we need a little bit more time to process that and learn it. And so when you're doing homeschooling, if your children are struggling with, for example, my daughter was struggling with multiplication facts. She is more on the reading and artistic side. Math is not a strong suit for her, but so it just took a little bit longer for her. So we paused and we really focused on trying to memorize those and trying to work on ways to help her memorize. And there was no rush, because I knew that that skill was important when it came to more of her math. So we were able to stop and keep practicing and then move on. There's been times in math when we have encountered a new lesson, and it's been really, I've spent, I don't want to say too long, like 20 or 30 minutes trying to teach it, and then they just still are completely lost. So we'll stop for the day, and the next day we'll wake up and something just clicked. They just got it. I don't know what it was, but it just worked out easier the next day. Sometimes it's taken 2 or 3 days. Sometimes it's we've moved through lessons and then I realize that something didn't click, and so we'll get to back up and relearn that and repractice that and see if we can say it in a different way. I've been praised for what I love is if I teach it one way and it doesn't work, because I'm only dealing with 4 children and usually it's just I'm working one-on-one. I can say it one way and then I pause for a minute, and if they're still like, nope, I don't got it, then I'll try and figure out a different way to say it. Or they'll say, that just doesn't make sense to me, and I'll try to figure out a different way to say it. So I get to teach at their pace. They get to learn at their pace. When it comes to spelling and reading, both of my children are excelling according to their books. And what says what would be grade level if they were being testing. They're excelling in those. So I get to push them a little bit further and keep pushing them to excel and keep pushing them to just that place where it's a little bit difficult and you're really pushing yourself, but it's not extremely easy. So hopefully you decide to homeschool, or you may not. I hope that you do. I think it is wonderful for everybody. I think your children benefit very much from being home with one of the parents and learning. I feel that they grow better in better people. I feel that their self-esteem is increased when they're at home around people that want to support them. I think it allows them to think. I think it allows them to make mistakes and know that it's okay to make those mistakes. And you, as your parent, get to spend far more time with them than you would if you would send them to public school. And at the end of my life, I want to know that I spent as much time as I could with my children and created relationships with them and helped them grow than regret it. These are the pros and cons. Hopefully you get off the fence and you make a decision. Sometimes it just takes a leap of faith. Sometimes you just gotta jump, try it, and see what happens.